Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Russ Lagan. I am the host of the Attraction Advantage podcast, and I am here with my trusty sidekick, Frank Panunto. He's about as interesting as a UFO sighting, but a lot less confusing. Frank.
Well, maybe. Depends. And it's National Hat Day, so welcome, everybody, and thank you for having me. And confusion is my goal of every conversation I enter, so this is perfect.
You're a walking conundrum, Frank. A walking conundrum. All right. Today we have with us somebody that is near and dear to me, somebody that works directly with me, Mat Lewczenko. Hi, Matt. How are you today?
Well, I would say I was doing great, but I realized I was missing out on hat game. So feeling definitely like the guest.
Well, listen, man, like you kind of got set up for that. Like how many times have you seen me number one with a hat, number two without a vest, a shirt, and a tie on?
Yeah, so it's a special day. It's a special day for all of us.
It's a weird day. Yeah, it is kind of like a Bigfoot sighting when you see me without a shirt and a vest on. So Matt, today we've invited you to Attraction Advantage podcast, where we talk about all things attraction from A to B, T to C, and everything in between. And figured it would be a fun conversation to get like quick history, like where do you come from? Who are you? What do you currently do? And then let's dig into some really cool stuff because you've got some great chops on attraction.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, without going too far back, right? I'm Matt with one T, Mat Lewczenko. It's short for Mateusz. I'm from Poland, and when I started in real estate, when you lead generate and leave the voicemail that this is Mateusz Lewczenko, I didn't get a lot of calls back, so I had to drop the S's and the Z's and went with Matt with one T, and then my business blew up. Yeah. So I've been in real estate for the last 15 years. 13 of it's been in leadership, in coaching, and attraction. So I was able to get into the game early, and it's one of the things I love the most. And it's a natural byproduct of really helping agents sell more homes. So it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's just dive right into the attraction stuff. Like, where do you tell people to begin? Where do you start?
So for me, it's always been the number one most attractive thing is production. You're already in relationship with agents, and at the end of the day, agents are looking to sell more homes, and then also find a community. And most agents want to be in a community of people that sell homes. So it always goes back to selling more homes. So for me, my desire and my passion for coaching agents has always been the number one way that I've attracted agents to the companies that I've been along with or in my own organization.
Yeah, but let me throw a counterpoint to that then. Okay, great. But what if I don't have a whole lot of production? How in the world can I ever do attraction without any production?
I love that, right? So that's where I'm only as good as my friends. So I hang out with a lot of really great and highly productive people. And the thing is like with production, you could either have your own production or be around and have access to those that are also in production that share, that have the right mindset of contribution, that share. So the people that I roll with, there are no gates, there are no funnels, there are no clicks. It's like, here's what we do, here's all that we do, which if you want to roll with us and run with us, let's go.
Yeah, that's
Seems
cool.
to be a common theme of people that we're talking to a lot where, who you surround yourself with matters. And a lot of times, kind of what Russ is saying is like, well, I'm not in production, limiting belief, right? And a lot of times people look for those excuses to not put themselves out there when you hit it right on the head. Just get around the people that have in common goals, in common vision and views. And it's going to happen organically, which is the best way, really, when it comes to attract. It has to be organic, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I wish I had my whiteboard for this.
Use your hat.
Anyway, it's right there. I mean, I could say, hi, whiteboard. I hope you don't miss me. But if I drew it out, I'd draw a line like this. And most people are saying like, well, Russ, I'm not over here. Like, why would anybody follow me? It's like, okay, if I'm here, anybody that's this side of me is behind. Like, think about like being in a race, right? Matt, you've got a bunch of medals behind you. You've run a couple, right?
Yeah, just a couple.
Do you have to be in front to be in front of other people?
No.
Like the person in the middle is still ahead of the back half, right? The person at the 3/4 way mark is still ahead of the persons at the 25% that's the back markers, right? So a lot of people are like, well, if I'm at the front of the race, I can't do it. Like if you're at the 50, when I was running 6.5 minute miles and 6 minute miles consistently in races, there's a lot of people behind me, right? And by the way, when I was running 8 minute miles, there's still a lot of people behind me. When I was running 10 minute miles, Still a ton of people behind me. All of the people running 12 are looking at the guy at 10 going, damn, that guy's fast.
Mhm.
Right?
And even
all the guys at 10 are looking at the 12s going, dude, those guys are slow.
the other side of that is this: even the last person in a race is further than the guy on the couch, and he's in the game, right? So even the new associates that are coming in, new agents that are licensed in, are also an inspiration for those that are looking to get into the game as well. So it doesn't matter where you're at; it's who you're with that's everything.
Yeah, agreed. I think I think of it a lot of times like this. Every once in a while, I'll get cooking, and somebody would I'll be cooking something, and the person standing next to me is like, I have no idea how to cook. I'm like, well, here, grab a spoon, right? Let's go. Right? It's like you jump in with a chef. If the chef is any good at all, they're going to keep you from doing stupid crap. They're going to help you produce. You are helping them, and they are helping you produce something amazing. So you don't have to be the chef to be a great wingman to help the chef turn out things that are absolutely incredible. So I think finding your role, where your role is, and always know if you're breathing, you're ahead of some people.
I think having interest and curiosity is a big part of it too. I think when you're around people, let's just listen, ask questions, try to learn. I mean, I don't know about you, but I take a lot of pride in being the least smartest guy in every conversation I'm in. I like to learn. I pick up a nugget every time I talk to somebody, and yeah, you can second that, right? Anytime that I'm in a conversation with business people, which we do every day, the three of us do this every day. I'm taking notes as well. Yes, I'm trying to talk to them and see how I can help them, but at the same time, it doesn't mean it's not an opportunity for me to learn something. So I think when you have an opportunity, when you have you're in that scenario or in that situation where there's a chance you can learn something and be inquisitive, it's pretty cool. All the guards go down, all the fear goes away. You're just asking questions.
Yeah. So Matt, you've done a bunch of coaching. So I know your style, right? Your style isn't an interview style. Your style is an attraction style. Your style is a coach style. And you're going to walk them through the process for how do you approach people from a coaching standpoint? I've never done a recruiting appointment yet. I've done a coaching appointment that turned into, hey, this sounds like this would be a good fit for you. Maybe you should be doing that. But I've never done a recruiting appointment really. So talk me through that coaching process. Where do you start off?
So when I'm working with people, we start off first with clarity of vision. The thing is if you don't know which way you're going, any direction is going to get you there. And so many agents are just in reaction mode all day long. They're either answering the phone or putting out a fire, and they don't really have a direction. So they're constantly just flailing and burning. And so we get really clear on the target, and then we get really emotional as to why it's important. Because what I've discovered is when people really, really get clear on the why, they'll do anyhow. But the difference between coaching as far as prescriptive coaching versus consultative coaching is we spend a lot of time asking questions about the ways that they've won in the past, and then ways that they'd like to win in the future, and what's been holding them back up to that point. So what's interesting is that the agents that I work with and coach with, it's not necessarily as much of teaching them to do new things. It's teaching them how to remove the obstacles. And we do that through a lot of different ways, through understanding the fears and the limiting beliefs behind it, and then incorporating accountability systems and tools. And so with that, the key that I work with everybody is that authorship equals ownership. And so they're the ones that come up with their prescription. And then it's just our partnership in making sure that we're maintaining the inputs to get the outputs needed.
Matt, I was having a conversation with a guy named Martin Ruoff. I believe that was Monday. Seems like I was going to say a couple of weeks ago. That was Monday. This has been the longest month of the week, right? So I was having a conversation with him on my Be Followable podcast that ties to the book. And he was describing the process of how many people had rejected the piece of marble that Michelangelo used to do David, the statue David. This is a 17-foot tall freaking hunk of marble here, right? And he's everybody's you can't do it, it's not worth it, can't do it, doesn't work, reject it. And he walks up and he's perfect, right? And then he describes the process of how he did things. He didn't build David. He removed all the things and revealed David. which is like just a mind-blowing way. It's like somebody carved this. Actually, somebody removed all the things that didn't belong there to make that be left. That was what was left over, right? So usually we throw the leftovers out. The leftover is the actual art in that particular case. So I think that's a lot of what you were just talking about, right? Removing all of those things that slow people down.
We just did that with Joe. We just had Joe on a previous podcast, and he was talking about his philosophies, and part of it was, what should I start doing, but what should I stop doing? Yeah. And what we were talking a lot about was the self-discovery part of that. When you start realizing what's getting in the way, what's interfering, things start to become a lot more clear.
Yeah. And, I pull this concept from, Scott Galloway wrote a book called The Inner Game of Tennis. And in that book, there's a formula, and it's P equals P minus I. And it stands for your performance is your potential minus any interference. Because all of us could be doing so much more. The only thing that's holding us back from our true potential is the interference that we allow. And that may be internal, that may be external, maybe mindset, fears, limiting beliefs, lack of knowledge, but it also might be your environment, the people that you're surrounded with. And so we're doing that whole concept of how much, what do we got to remove to truly let your potential soar? And that's where performance shows up.
I think we go back to that running analogy, Matt, and I know you do run. You did run a bunch. It's kind of funny because you hear this with regard to other people. It's like somebody that's above you and ahead of you is never going to tell you that you can't do something more, because they're already never tell the person doing something that it can't be done, right? But it's like me at a 6 and 7 minute mile. I talked to my buddy Raj, who was a 5:45 6 minute mile guy. I was like, man, I need to get down 6 flat. And he's like, yeah, dude, well, let's go. Right. So where the person at 8, how are we going to do this? So I think it does really matter who you surround yourself with. Makes a big difference. Right. And by the way, who we surround ourselves with, you pointed this out too. It's the noise in our head, the soundtracks in your head, that parent that made you feel stupid as a child, those teachers that berated you for D's when it wasn't that you were stupid. It's just, you just were bored out of your freaking head, and they were boring you out of your freaking head, right? So it's a matter of understanding the stuff in here, you've got to stop that and or replace that with good stuff. And then the people you surround yourself with, you got people ahead of you, man. They're freaking cheering for you most of the time. I've never run past somebody you suck. I run past somebody, I'm like, come on, man, you got this. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Right? So yeah, who you hang out with matters.
I'd add one more thing to that, right? Because I remember really loving that quote, right? Surrounding yourself with the people because you're going to elevate yourself to the people you surround yourself with. Yeah. The next level to that is that you don't become the average of the people you surround yourself with. You become the average of the standards that those people put onto you, that you allow them to give you. So you could be around high performers, but just proximity doesn't necessarily equal elevation. When you get into a relationship with them where you allow them to hold you to account to the standard of that group, now we go up. I mean, we've got the leadership group accountability. So just being on a leadership group chat is different than being on a step accountability group chat with us, right? So it's not just enough to be around people, but you got to give people permission to hold you to account.
Yeah, and there's again, we talk about people compete at the bottom, they collaborate at the top, right? Yeah. It's I've seen people, God, we've been on crappy teams, everybody's competing with everybody else. When you're on an amazing team, I want everybody on the team to win. I want everybody around me to win. I want you to kick my ass in a race. Because you know what? I know I'm giving 100% every single time. And if you beat me, you just straight up, you're just better at that race, right? So I always like to celebrate that. And I think what you'll find is the higher up you go, the more people will celebrate you joining them. They say it's lonely at the top. Well, it's only lonely at the top if you go alone. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, well, a lot of that's going to come down to what your definition of leadership is too, right? So when we're talking about people and carrying people with you and all the things that Matt's touching on right now, lifting people up, that's leadership. Yeah. That's leadership. When you want somebody to realize what their potential is, removing that interference, sometimes a leader has to do that because these people are so stuck in their own head, right, that they can't see it. So, to be around people, and I was talking about this prior, I've been living my life in 6-month windows. And I look back, a lot of times you'd look forward. I started looking back about 3-4 years ago. And I'm like, okay, the last 6 months, did I surround myself with people who get me closer to what I'm trying to become, or did they hold me back from what I'm trying to become? It's kind of what you're saying, but it's reversed in the way that I'm looking at it. And that I never used to do that, but it's really made a big change in my world. So, if you're not where you want to be, take a real hard look at what's going on around you. It's your environment. But it's what you're talking about, Matt. And Russ touched on it too. Your environment can then play games with your mindset. So if that's not all in sync with each other and it's completely controllable, you can completely turn it around like that, but you got to be able to see it and understand and diagnose it.
So this is exactly the kind of conversation that naturally even leads to somebody choosing to make a move and to join you, right? Because oftentimes what they discover is that they're inadvertently becoming a product of their environment that once served them, but sometimes you outgrow it. And so, like, there was a podcast episode with Lewis Howes, and he was talking to someone, I can't recall the guest, but they were saying you can't change the people around you. And yet you can change the people around you, right? So sometimes we spend so much energy attempting to change people as opposed to just change the people around you. Like, choose the people that you allow proximity into your world. And sometimes that is an environmental shift. That's an organizational shift as well, right? To just put yourself, and where are you going to put your energy? With the people that are constantly pulling you up to their level, not holding you back like a crab in a bucket.
I thought you were going to go a different way, because you're changing the people around you, but you can change the people that you're around.
Correct.
Right. So there's a different way of doing that to make sure that you're not being held back.
Exactly.
And there's I think it was Dave Ramsey always used the expression that racehorses want to run with other racehorses. They don't want to run with ponies.
Yeah.
So
donkeys.
Yeah, donkeys.
I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of racehorses that really enjoy having a donkey out there. So maybe that sometimes
so they can beat them up a little bit.
Just reminds them what it could be like, right?
Well, you don't want to forget what it was like when you were a donkey, because all of us were when we started this business. You don't come out of the gates a Triple Crown winner. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and that's what people need to understand. Is, even in attraction, right? In our company, you see some of our biggest attractors. And everybody's like, I'll never be like that person. Well, remember, they started with one also at one point.
Yeah.
This was not something that happened overnight. It was a lot of work, and it was a build, and it was systems and planning, and it's all the same thing. So the problem is we live in a microwave society. Everybody spends something happen like this. It's not that easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It takes what it takes, and it's often a little longer than you expect.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for sound bite of the day. I think we could sum it up as like, don't be a donkey. All right. So Matt, I'm going to get a little personal with you. You ready?
Go for it.
You went out of the box and did something unusual. And I wanted to tell you, number one, how proud I am of you for doing it. But number two, I want to make sure we don't miss the opportunity, because this is a great shot to actually tell people. I wrote a book called The Entrepreneur's Regret. Mat with one T, Lewczenko, right? So with that, I mean, there's a lot of things that people do that they set themselves up for. And in business, they set themselves up for, I'm going to have this grandiose bank account and yacht and this and that and the other thing. And then through the process, they sacrifice everything that's important to them. And they're standing at the finish line going, yes, I finished. And look around and like, nobody's there with them, right? Yeah. So dig into a couple of the core concepts on that, because it's great if you got 15,000 people in your organization. If your life sucks and everybody hates you and you don't want to be here.
Yeah. So the main process, or the main framework inside the book, is something I call the L3 framework, and it stands for leadership, love, and life. And what happens is our inability to be all in any one of those areas creates guilt and pull from the other areas when you're in it. For instance, if you're not fully present at home, and you haven't really poured into the people at home, when you're at work, that phone call is coming in is going to pull you out of what you might be or should be doing at work, because you feel guilty that
Yep.
you got to answer it to make sure everybody's okay. Conversely, when you're at home having dinner, if you weren't all in at work and filled your pipeline and set up your appointments and you've lead generated so you don't have to tolerate, just anyone, when you're having dinner and that phone rings, you don't need to jump to answer that call because you've already got enough appointments set and the math is stacked in your favor. And so you can be all in at home because you've earned that right at work. And then all of it comes together whenever you take the time to take care of yourself. And so one of the core components is self-care isn't selfish, because
Right.
at the end of the day, we've got to take care of our physical and mental health, because the people we say we're doing this for deserve the best of us and not what's left of us.
Yeah.
And that all of those things come together. And what brings it all together is presence, being where you're supposed to be at work, at home, and for yourself.
Yeah. I love that phrase, best of us versus what's left of us.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's so many times and yeah, I'm going to have to apologize to my wife later. There's just so many times, dude, like we go all in on this, and we're back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And it's like, boom, there you go out the door, smash your walk in, take the dogs for a walk, drop them off, crank out the next half hour to get your step number count up. And you come inside and you're like, all right, I'm done. And like, now I got to put food in my pie hole. Next thing you know, it's 8 p.m. Right. And it's like, and the last thing I want to do is sit down and have a meaningful, deep conversation with somebody, because I just had 9 hours of meaningful, deep conversations with random strangers, which is a challenge to do, right? Like building that rapport and then connecting and then directing. I mean, that takes a lot out of you. So I think it's that interesting, like you're talking about the 3 L's, right? And any two you pull too far apart, the other one collapses, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Man, you could do a great visual with that.
Yeah. And so the thing is, like, it's all about a constant adjustment and an awareness, right? And so just for instance, here's a real-time example. Recently, again, experiencing and feeling that pull, being all in, and then feeling like self-care becoming selfish because I'm not having that quality time. Well, I reached out to my wife and I said, hey, would you want to walk with me in the mornings so I can get my steps in? And so I'm taking care of my personal health, and then she and I are having a good 45-minute connection. And one of the things, and when I love hearing it, like we're walking, and she goes, I really love these walks. I really love just getting to start our day and connect. And sometimes we're talking about kid stuff, sometimes we're talking about work stuff, and sometimes we're just dreaming with our eyes open.
Yeah, dude, that is so cool.
I think finding the balance that you're talking about is kind of the foundation of almost every conversation we have. If you think about it, when we're talking to broker owners, we're talking to team leaders, agents, at the root of everything they're saying is they're trying to find balance.
Yeah.
It's a time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough leads. I don't have this. I don't have these. I'm trying to do this. And they're getting pulled in all these different directions. They're trying to find balance. And I understand that. You guys understand that. But okay, so how do we get them to that point where they have a quality of life where they're not, Russ has a really good timeline in his book that talks about, when you hit a certain level and then, the next phase is you're trying to get some of that time back that you just used. That's leverage, right? So, all of that matters. And that's what we try to help people with.
Frank, I said something similar to that to Jarek Robbins, Tony Robbins' son, when he was working with Success as a CEO of Success Magazine. And I had actually interviewed him on the Big Agent meeting. And I said to him, like, what are the key core pieces to finding balance? And he's like, Russ, it isn't about balance. Because when you start thinking the way balance works, for one thing to give, the other has to take. Balance is a matter of like one goes up, the other one has to go down. One goes down, the other one has to go up. He says, not a matter of balance. It's a matter of saying, like, it's not 2 things that you're balancing. It's 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 things that you're balancing. So what we've got to start looking at is instead of starting to try to develop balance, think of harmony. So think of like a piano. It's like one note. It's like bing, boom, bing, boom, bing, boom, bing, boom. It's like bing, boom. Like you're playing one, you're playing the other. You can play one more. You play like you can hear one, you hear the other. And it's like, by the way, there's a whole bunch of other notes there. And when you add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, now you've got chords that are amazing, right? So you have the ability to create music with 6 or 7, 8 different pieces, 10 different pieces, completely different to say is like, it's left note or right note. It's all of the notes. It's like, let's make sure we got all of the notes in the right balance. And I think that was interesting. It's like the concept of finding harmony versus finding balance. And I was kind of like, dang, I've never seen it like that before.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
It's a cool.
It's so sad. Yeah, I love Jarek. He was great.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Matt, let me ask you this question. Writing a book, like, how was it to write a book, right? What did the book do for you? Because I can tell you what my book's doing for me, but what did your book do for you?
Yeah, a couple things, right? So like, so on one of our calls this morning, I actually got to interview another author that's launching a book in March, and he got to share the book with our group. And we talked about this, right? Because the idea of writing a book is one thing, and then getting into action and beginning to write the book is another thing. And that process itself is so cathartic in such a way that forces you to accumulate and then get clear and then organize and start putting all your thoughts down. And what's interesting is as I'm putting all of these thoughts down in order, putting it together, number one, it's another audit to ask yourself, okay, like, am I living this actually? It challenges you. And so that there's almost like a self-sabotage of like, okay, I've got all these ideas, but like, am I completely full of crap here? Like if I put it out, like, all of a sudden is everyone gonna be like, well, you think you figured it out? And that's the thing is like, I haven't. This book isn't a declaration of how awesome I am. It's, hey, here's my survival guide. Here's the tools. Here's the tips that I've discovered up to this point that have gotten me through this, and this. And I'd love to share it with you because I don't want to do this alone. And if you're experiencing what I've experienced or I've seen through others, I don't want you to have to go through it either. So that was probably the most interesting part is like, my goal, my intention was to have the book done in 6 months. It took me almost 14 months to publish because the 8 months after it was done, I was like, oh, I don't know if I actually want anyone to read it.
Well, and then you get the what if nobody wants to read it? What if nobody likes it? What if people think I'm full of shit? Right? I mean, there's a lot to that. And I think, I like, as I was reading through, it's the story of you and the imperfections and the story of not having it right. And then learning, I have to make it move in the right direction. I'm making it better. Like I got this nailed. My wife's thrilled. My kids are thrilled. My family loves me. Everything's perfect. It's like, hey, I muffed this up. Now I realize I can't do it like that. So we got to start doing it more like this. And by the way, baby, I'm a freaking work in progress, right?
You don't have to ask a lot of people whether or not I've got things figured out. You'll get the answer here real quick.
Like you can't even throw a Frisbee without ripping your arm off. So, I mean, like
twice.
For those of you that don't know, Matt actually loves disc golf. And he tore his bicep playing disc golf. And then to make it worse, he tore his other bicep trying to work out in recovery for
playing disc golf again left-handed because I
know you did that back. I thought you heard it in rehab.
No. I tore it playing disc golf, and everybody was joking, saying, well, now you get to learn how to play left-handed. I said, bet, watch.
Dude, that's a way better story.
13 days later, played left-handed and tore it completely off my forearm, 4 holes in. And I said, no way. And that was on Mother's Day weekend. And it'll be a story my wife will never stop telling.
So you're on the disc golf IR for how long? For like a 5 month? I've never even heard of
it. It's a 6-7 month rehab.
That's what you should be writing a book about, your recovery from disc golf.
Yeah.
And the dangers and trials and tribulations of disc golf.
There's something in the works, right? It's called Don't Do Anything Half-Assed. We use your whole ass. Like
show up at the meeting. My name is Matt. I have a disc golf problem. Everybody's like, hi, Matt. Oh, dude. Yeah, but like, I think you just said something interesting though. It's like how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yeah. And that's a risk sometimes.
It's always a risk. It's always a risk going all in on almost everything, right? I mean, that's your fundamental wiring. And for those people that are like, yeah, but Russ, I don't go all in on anything. Dude, listen, guys, that's not the worst thing, okay? Because those of us that go all in on everything we do, it can get messy and weird, right? Yeah. So having the ability to actually enjoy something at 80%, consider yourself blessed. Think about driving on the highway, right?
Yeah.
All of that stuff. All right. So anything else from the book that you want to bring out? Because I know there's a bunch of great stuff in there.
I would say that the section that I go back to most often is the one around the life framework. And in that framework, I break down kind of my cheat code for engaging and sharing and showing love to the people that I love most. And the framework is love is spelled time, Time. And the Time is an acronym for T is take a second, disconnect, and come in clean, right? The I is inquire about me. The M is make me feel loved. And that's by understanding what their love language is. And then the E is encourage me, be a spark, be an igniter, not an extinguisher. And so for me, because I'm so driven in a certain direction, it's difficult for me sometimes to slow down and just take a second and allow and like let others feel loved and be connected. One of the biggest ahas and realizations that I had is that I had a lot of guilt thinking that I was never all in or enough with my kids. And so I would get all in, want to go, and I'd set these huge days or these huge events. And my daughters are like 12 and 15. They're like, Dad, like, do you care if we go upstairs now? And I'm like, no, we're watching a movie and we're going to have a game night. We're going to do it. And they're like, we don't want to spend that much time with you. Like, just give me 10 minutes. And I'm like, for them, it's about quality, not quantity. And the challenge before is that how many times are you at home with one earbud in, you're scrolling and you're kind of looking up and listening, but your thumb's still doing the thing and someone's talking to you and you're present, but you're not there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it's about being fully present, and presence equals attention.
Yeah.
And they only need 10 minutes to have 100% connection. And that's the secret. That for me has been the secret. I just need to give 10 minutes of undivided attention.
Yeah.
They get me full on, and they don't want the coach.
Yeah.
And they just want dad.
Yeah.
They want me to joke with them. They want me to like get into the empathy hole with them or whatever. And then they're like, okay, I'm just going to go and play Roblox or talk on the phone or whatever. Like that was for me the biggest thing. I continue to go back to that because that's an area of my life that I've turned into a glass ball and not a rubber ball. Everything else can bounce. I cannot afford to let this one drop.
Right. So, dude, a couple things I'll reiterate there because there's some great sound bites in there just because it's good stuff, right? Love is spelled Time, right? It's that time and that focus attention. So let me throw one more thing into there that I know you probably do anyway too. And it's something I'm learning to do also is when my wife tries to engage me and I'm doing something and I'm in email or I'm in chat, I don't typically surf sitting around in the house. So with that being said, it's like, and I'll be like, give me 1 minute. Right. And that 1 minute's like, boom, flip the phone over, phone's out of my hands, 100% attention. Okay. What's going on? What's up? Where are we going? Right. And I do the same thing with a dog. The dog jumps on my lap. I'm like, 1 second, finish up whatever. Boom, put the phone down. Like this dog, it's like, I am the most important thing in that dog's world. Yeah. And you gotta freaking act like it. Right. So, scrub the dog, full throttle, full contact, but it's a matter of that having that attention versus being divided. Like, how do you really say, I love you? I love you more than whatever's going on in that stupid phone. Airplane mode, by the way, is my favorite freaking tool. After hours, when I get to a certain point, I'm like, all right, airplane mode it is, right? Like I'm off limits because it's like I've got to recharge myself, one, and also I got to make sure I'm able to be 100% focused and undistracted from the people that are most important to me. I don't want them to always have the wasted, distracted version, right?
Yep.
Great stuff, Matt. Well, thank you very much for that. That was a fantastic session right there. This is the Traction Advantage podcast with Frank Panunto. I'm Russ Lagan. Mat Lewczenko just knocked it out of the park. Great stuff, great content. If you haven't already, by the way, here's a reminder. Entrepreneur's Regret, Mat Lewczenko. You can pop that on Amazon. Grab a copy of that book, read through it. It'll redirect you back to the stuff that's important to you and the stuff that's important to your people around you. So with that said, Frank, last words, Frank.
Yeah, Matt. Oh, I mean, first of all, for you to be a part of this team, it's really it's sensational for us. We are a really tight group, and you're an all-star, man. and you bring gold every time. So I'm just grateful to be in your world. To call you a colleague is very special to me, and I'm a big fan of yours, brother. And thank you for what you did today. You were great.
Thank you. We're better together, man.
Absolutely. Matt, last words.
Just be all in, be where you should be.
All right, there you go. Attraction Advantage Podcast. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Take care, all.